and it had like a black kid with like these big black lips, you know, wearing tattered jeans, you know, like sneaking in over a fence to get watermelon. And it was an advertisement for watermelon bubblegum it was from an actual, I can't remember the company right now, but it's from a company that still exists, like Wrigley's or something.
That's why I think this is because I think that and I'm not speaking for everybody, but I think there's a large portion of people, even within America, but especially outside of America, that sees black people, and I'm sure other people like Asians, but Asians do it too. That's why but I think it's really the most exaggerated, despicable stereotypes of anybody has probably been black people, because they've been portrayed as animals, dumb, monkey.
Well, it depends on what country you're in.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But there are variations of that,
right?
And that's why I think it's important to address these kind of things, because I think in a situation like this, and in places like Japan, where they have what was it called, Ganguru?
Yeah,
where you have young people who, in admiration of black people, do blackface, and I mean the big lips and the nappy hair. I mean, really these grotesque exaggerations of black people, and I think this kind of stuff needs to be addressed worldwide, because there are people who don't know black people, don't understand black culture, and then they take it negatively, and even in a sense where they think they're doing positively, it still comes out bad. Where they just see black people in exaggerated ways, and those exaggerated ways are very dark, even when because I mean, not all those Jackson 5 are that fucking dark, all right? And there's nothing wrong with being dark skinned, but it's this whole thing of like dark skinned, big nappy headed fro wearing, jumping and jiving, not very intelligent people.
Well, it's an image I think some people do find hilarious. I mean, they do find it funny just because of how ridiculous and over exaggerated it is. Now, I don't know as far as wanting to do an act like that, like where the humor comes in, as far as what part of that act was actually funny. You know, if there was some kind of interesting dialogue going between the characters or whatever about, Michael, we're black, you're white, what's your problem? You know, there's nothing like that at all. And so there was no reason to have an act like that if you're not either trying to make a point or tell people like, hey, we're doing this because this is ridiculous and it's despicable.
But even then,
but with an act like that, it just when it first starts, you're already like, okay, this is just bad comedy if that's what they're trying to do, and what's the point?
Well, since we had these images even as recent as even the 70s in different variations. I mean, in movies and whatnot, you know, we're talking about just the portrayal of black people's ignorance, and it's too soon, and it's hurtful. I mean, it's very hurtful for a culture that's trying to that is already plagued by ignorance of their own just because of social conditions. I mean,
there's plenty of people too that still, you know, they take that image and they make it into comedy, like half the stuff we show here, like with the
and it's not the
fried chicken, the chick the guy who's playing the chick making barbecue in her school bus.
That's what we made fun of that. I mean, we make fun of black people who do this kind of shit, and it's like, hey, it's too soon. So it's like really hurtful when other people, because at least black people they think in their minds like, we're taking these things and we're actually taking ownership of it, and we're going to make it funny since other people are trying to make fun of us. We're going to show that, hey, we can take it, but they don't understand how just how ignorant that is. And so I just want people to understand that, like, these images where you think you're being funny, for a lot of at least intelligent black people who try to get beyond that it's not funny. You know, and a
lot of it's a cultural. It's a big cultural difference, especially in other countries. You know, where I mean, people they don't really see what goes on here in the States as far as kids who have to deal with that kind of with that kind of prejudice. You know, and you know, getting made fun of for having big lips or whatever. They don't ever see that, and all they see is what the media gives them or what they find on the internet. These pictures, but I don't, with an act like that though, as far as what that act is, no, it wasn't funny. There was no point to it. And I'm glad at least Harry Connick Jr., you know, thank God we have a Harry Connick Jr. over there telling people, you know, hey, just to let you guys know, this chick over here may find it funny, but it's really fucking offensive. And the biggest offense is that it's not fucking funny, you know? If this is your comedy, stop, because it sucks. You know?
And a lot of people don't know that there's terms for this stuff. I mean, this is blackface. This is a minstrel show. And for us, it's not, we're still trying to get over that shit. It's not funny. It's hurtful, and it's detrimental to what at least black people are trying to achieve. The majority of black people, intelligent black people. I know we got a black president and shit, but this kind of stuff. This is a throwback to show you just how people, how people's thinking still draws on the ignorance of race. And then we got the coon, the pickaninny, and people still try to put those images out there, and it's not. It's not funny, and I don't see how people. The other thing that bothers me is that you have other people who don't ever experience. They're insulated. They don't ever experience any kind of racism. Now, I'm talking about white people. I mean, you can say this black person didn't like me because I was white. It's not the same as having a whole culture that has all these negative stereotypes. Yeah, you can talk about white people have stereotypes, but what are the stereotypes? They're good. They're like, you got good credit. You can't, you can't dance. Big deal. You got jobs. You're blonde and handsome and beautiful. I mean, you got all the might be stereotypes, but you got all the great ones.
Hey, they're winning all the roles. Yeah, winning the movies.
Exactly. So don't try to come back and pull this reverse racism shit. No, it's like a lot of people who are insulated from any kind of race talk or issues or racism. They like to say, "Well, why do you have to see race in everything?" Because that's what people said on YouTube when they saw this. Right. Some people look at something, they see race in anything. These guys were just having fun. It's like if you really were living in the real world, you know what was wrong with that. How can you not look at a fucking minstrel show on stage and not say that race is involved in this?
Well, there's something, I mean, especially, I don't know if that was really taken as it was approached in like a mean-spirited way, but it's just people.
We can't excuse it because
no, you can't excuse it. Because number one, it wasn't funny. That's my biggest problem with it. It was not funny, and that's the biggest offense. If you're gonna try to do comedy is hard. Don't take the easy route and doing something stupid like that. Try to do something clever, I guess. If you're going to do blackface, do something real clever with it, I guess. Whenever somebody figures that out.
They come out and they had a good act with that, too. Like, let's just say that dude, he got the best Michael Jackson dance when he came out. Those guys dancing behind him still would have been.
No, dude, I mean, that was just retarded. But, no, I mean, it's tough because, I don't know, you don't know where people are coming from when they do kind of shit like that. But at least they should know that, you're going to be looked at, I mean, as being offensive, as being racist for doing something like that.
Yeah.
And just, and you're going to be on TV with that, doing that shit.
No fucking TV.
You're going on TV and there's not one person in the group that thinks, you know what, maybe this isn't such a good idea. And is this act funny? What are we trying to get across here? Because I'm sure that group maybe, I don't know what's going to happen to them after this whole thing, but I mean, I'm sure it's not going to be a picnic. I'm sure they're going to get all kinds of letters about, hey, you guys are fucked up, and if you guys are over here, we'd fuck you up. I mean,
but
and they're going to have to learn the hard way, I guess, to realize that's
a trial
that's not cool.
Yeah,
they may have had their heart in the right place, I guess.
Well, that's the other thing that comes from this. I mean, I think the way to approach talking about race issues is not to come from an area of anger, because a lot of times the first thing that people will want to say is, those guys are racist.
Yeah.
Maybe they are, but I'm not going to judge them by this act. I'm going to say, okay, you guys were ignorant of this and you didn't know what you were doing, but I'm not going to sit up here and the first thing I'm going to say is, you're racist, because when people get called racist off the spot, that already puts them on the defense.
Oh, yeah.
And then they want to charge back at you.
Yeah.
And nothing gets solved with two people butting heads with each other.
Yeah.
If two people can calmly sit down and say, hey, look, I don't think you're racist. I think maybe you just didn't know. And let me explain why this is offensive. And I'm not want to ruin anybody's fun, but I mean, come on.
Yeah. This may be fun to you, but to a whole group of people over here, it's not fun.
And and for anybody who thinks that this is just centered on me talking about black issues, I felt the same way about Borat. I mean, not Borat. Well, what's that?
Bruno?
Bruno. I felt the same way about Bruno. If I was a homosexual, if I was a gay person, I would have been even not as a gay person, I'm very offended by that movie, man. That movie starts out, it gives the wrong image of gay people, especially homosexual man, as being nothing but a bunch of horny guys who like to stick objects up their ass and walk around the city flamboyantly in all kind of colorful suits. I know gay people who are trying to say, look, that exists. Just like, we got black stereotypes of what people talk about, but gay people say, we got flaming gay men who do like to stick things up their ass, whatever. But here it's like, as a gay person who's just trying to come across as an everyday person, non-threatening to people who have those images in their mind, that was detrimental to what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I hate to say I hate to disagree with you with the Bruno, because I thought that was such on a ridiculous level that, the image is showing, no, it's not great, but I mean, I think the point of that character was to show other people's ignorance and just to show how much ignorance there is still out there. Like I think he's letting people know it's still very much alive, and he's pulling like I thought he did the same thing that he did with Borat, which is showing people's ignorance and the way how they see their world, and it's just. They're unaware how ignorant they are or can be, and when you bring up gay issues, you see people very passionate, very hateful towards it. And I thought he's just putting that out there.
Can I tell you the difference, though?
Okay.
The difference between Borat and Bruno. Bruno was a foreigner that came over and
but he's still stereotyping foreigners.
He came over in a way that people actually wanted to help. He didn't play on people's fears. I mean, there was he actually opened up people's ignorance by actually making them comfortable around him. They want to help Borat, and then they start talking about to Borat. They start talking about things like race issues and other issues that other people try to hide. But he was able to capture that with people because Borat was non-threatening. Now Bruno, he wants to talk. He's Sacha Baron Cohen, who plays both those characters.
Right.
He says he wants to go out and bring out people's ignorance about gay people.
Yeah.
Okay. Number one, the wrong approach is to go out and be the biggest flamboyant stereotype that people see about gay people in the first place. That's harmful. That's what people are thinking about gay people in the first place. And
I think a majority of that film, though, a lot of the ridiculousness that happened, it wasn't around other people. Usually, like the whole scene where he's with his boyfriend, that happened in the hotel room. But when he's out in the public, I don't think he was really stressing that.
Well, look,
unless there's some part of the movie I forgot.
If you want to go out and change people's minds, you don't go around a bunch of rednecks who already think that gay men are flamboyant, in their terms, faggoty type people who want to have sex with them, which is exactly what Sacha Baron Cohen did. He went to the woods with a bunch of rednecks who thought that about gay people. And what does he do? He goes out there, mentions all this flamboyantly gay stuff, acts girly, and then tries to crawl into a guy's tent naked. He just reinforced every stereotype that these guys had, and it didn't change anything. They came back and probably said, "You see, I told you that's what they do."
But you know what? I think that's still funny, but at the same time, I'm like, what kind of a redneck do you have to be? I mean, you're going to think that anyway. You're not going to change redneck's.
You don't know. You're not helping, though.
Yeah, but you're not going to change his opinion. If he already has that opinion about you, there's the one incident with Bruno is not going to stop that. Or it's not going to have him reinforce what he's already thought.
I disagree with that. I think that if
I just thought it was done so cartoonishly. You should just know. Okay, this is just ridiculous.
Well, some people don't know that.
And what the hell were these guys hanging out with him to begin with? Like, if you really think about that movie, like, I can almost say maybe that was set up because why would these rednecks have any excuse to hang out with this guy? How did that whole thing get
and there's
started?
No telling what they did on the set. It's the same way that they brought in, like, you ask yourself when Sacha Baron Cohen was playing, Ali G, you're thinking, like, why would these people sit in with Ali G in the first place if they know that this is going to be ridiculous? What they did was they had a guy sit down with some of these people that they're interviewing, and right when the camera started rolling, Ali G comes in and sits down, and these people are taken totally off guard.
Well, I assume it's the same thing like when you do interviews. Like, usually in an interview situation, unless I'm wrong, a lot of times they don't care who's interviewing as long as somebody's interviewing the person there that's waiting. And, like, I know there's a couple of times where somebody's called you and said, "Hey, Corey, there's this guy over here. He's ready to get interviewed. Why don't you go talk to him?"
Well, they had to bring these people into a studio. They had to bring them into the studio a few times. They had to bring them into the studio.
But I'm thinking it's the same way, where it's like, okay, here's somebody with some credentials. They want to interview you. Do you want to accept the interview or not? And usually, most of the time, they go, yeah, because they have to agree to it before they do.
People halfway. You got to at least give people a chance to try to change. And I could see, because you always see people who say, like, you know what? I hung out with this kind of person. They're totally different than what I thought they were before. I think my mind has kind of changed about how I perceive these kind of people. I mean, you hear racists all the time say, you know what? I never had a chance to spend any time with anybody other different than me. And they were totally different from what I thought. So you don't go out and try to change people, especially when it's too easy. I mean, he was going to, like, a lot of places in the South where people were already homophobic, and he's going there.
Well, I don't think he went there to change anything.
It's not helping. I mean, his whole thing was like, I'm here to, like bring out the homophobia in people. It's like, well, of course you're going to bring out the homophobia in people when you're acting not only like what they expect, but when you're acting obnoxious too. Let's take out the whole fact that you even are playing a gay person. Anybody has a right to be upset with you the way you're acting.
Yeah.
The movie didn't help at all. I mean, I really got to take a stand on that film. I mean, I'm not expecting you to. I'm not trying to change your mind either.
Yeah,
I'm just saying for myself.
No, I mean that's the thing. Like you have your opinion, I have my opinion.
Yeah,
you know?
The movie is I think is just very hurtful, and a lot of gay people upset about that. And I agree with them. Totally. Yeah, I got to be fair. I'm gonna talk the same shit about black people. I got to defend them too. You know?
I didn't. Well, the thing is, I don't know. I didn't hear the gay community's outrage towards that movie.
I don't think there was a lot of outrage, but there were rumblings. It was just like I'm very disappointed.
I think just people know. I mean, when you get down to it, it was a comedy. It was done. You know, it was very publicized. I mean, everyone knows this is a character. I mean, when it comes out, it's publicized. It's a comedy.
Soul Plane was a comedy, but people were
I know. But the thing is,
something's funny can't always be excused to like let people do anything they want to do.
Right. But the thing is, like, I don't think any person who's ignorant is ever going to change because of something they see or something they read. It has to come from like a personal level.
You don't think that the civil rights movement was changed by people seeing the imagery of people being brutalized on TV and attacked by dogs? I mean, people changed.
Well, I mean, that's what I mean. Somewhat by personalized. When you see people getting hurt, that's one thing. Yeah, people getting killed. Yeah, I mean, those were different times. I didn't live in those times, but I'm sure people were very aware of it. People saw that, and it was very hurtful and it was very scary. I mean, when they used to behead people, when they used to behead people in public, people stopped going to those beheadings because there was one incident where they were beheading a girl who, for the first time, which has never happened, she started screaming and crying for her life. And that affected people, where people used to go to, people who would get beheaded would just go and they'd get beheaded. They'd be very quiet about it. But it took one incident to stop that whole thing, where people are screaming, crying, you know, and they're like, okay, this is ugly now.
And
you know?
See, that's the thing.
And it wakes them up. And
we see extremes of things. That's great.
But I don't think Bruno was an extreme. I don't think it's in the same playing field as you know.
Well, no, it's because it's not extreme enough to where we're seeing people who are terrorized and brutalized. It's subtlety brought in under the guise of comedy, which sneaks it in. And sometimes that's more dangerous because a lot of people don't notice. I mean, when it's brought in and it's not splashed across the screen in the most dramatic way, it's a subtle racism and homophobia and sexism that you have to look for sometimes, because that's how people in corporations get away with shit. That's how people in politics get away with shit.
Right.
You know, if we had a congressman or a senator come up in a Klansman outfit, everybody's going to be up in an uproar. But if we have somebody who is coming in and they're passing policies under the table that hurt certain groups of people, that's where it gets scary. You know, and so that's why I look out for these kind of
things. And I understand that, but I mean, I honestly cannot categorize that with the Bruno film as, you know, being something that's, I don't know, just crawling under the door to trick people into a way of thinking.
I don't think so. I don't think Sacha Baron Cohen was trying to. I don't think he's a homophobe by any means. I thought he was trying to help, but I just don't agree with his method. I think he was.
I mean, you could say, there's some things where you're like, okay, one of these guys is going to push this guy out the door, whatever. But I don't know. I didn't. I mean, maybe it's just me and my thinking. It didn't seem like it wasn't doing that much harm to the community, as far as the gay community. Because I mean, I think the gay community knows, okay, this is a heterosexual guy trying to be us, you know, but you know, he's being funny with it. And I don't know, everyone's sense of humor is completely different. I'm sure there's some gay people out there who love that film and some others who didn't, but until they are very vocal about it, I'll never know. So, I mean, like I said, I never heard a single uproar from the gay community going, this is incredibly offensive. Like, if I would have heard that and really looked at the film, I can go, okay, yeah, you know what? I do see what you're saying, but I mean, watching it, it didn't change my mind. I know a few gay people, and it didn't change my mind of who I know who they are and what they're about and what their cause is about.
You know what? Because you were open-minded before. That's why. But like I said, for some people,
I mean, there's times when I was around a lot of closed-minded people, and yeah, some things it made me kind of question, like, I don't know if I want them hanging around me. I think that would make me uncomfortable. It took years of just, you know, getting to know people, getting to know that, you know, this gay person, yeah, he may be gay, you may call him evil or whatever, but you know what, you're completely straight, but you know what, I'd rather hang out with this dude than you because you're really fucked up and I don't like your views on
Hey, wait a minute, what did I do?
And I don't like it. And the other thing is you're black. That's the highest offense.
I did nothing.
No, but I mean, I think, it affects people differently. I mean, I'm not going to try to sit here and try to figure out what everyone is fucking thinking, because I mean, I know some black people that are racist towards their own people, as far as just they have like a self-hatred, just like self-hating Jews, they're self-hating blacks, they're self-hating Mexicans, self-hating fucking Koreans, Chinese.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of people out there who are really fucked up in the head with their own set of problems.
I won't even get into that right now. That's a whole new.
And that's the thing. I mean, you have an answer for it. A lot of these people, I don't have a real answer for it because I just don't know what everyone's really thinking all the time. All I know is, as long as I know that, at least I know where people are coming from with things. Yeah, it's a crazy issue to get involved with because number one, it hurts my brain because trying to wrap my head around and try to think of a single answer, something I can say to go, okay, people, quit being stupid, quit being ignorant, stop dressing up in fucking blackface because you know what, you're irritating these black people over here, and then they start bitching about it, and then they start to irritate me because I got to hear about it, and I got to hear you guys go to war. And look, I just want everyone to shut the fuck up, leave me alone, keep your issues to yourself, and let me fucking read my comic books and watch my movies and just let me go fuck some girls and leave me alone, please. I'm tired of hearing everyone's shit. Get over it already. Get over your fucking ignorance. Get over your issues. Look, here's something we all have in common. We're all gonna fucking die, okay? So get used to that concept. And you know what? While you're living here, make the most out of your fucking life because you ain't got too long to live, especially when you're eating those goddamn fucking Krispy Kreme fucking hamburgers and fucking shoving fucking goddamn fried chicken up your ass all the time. Man.
I wish it was that easy, man. But you gotta be educated. You gotta be prepared when people like bring up stuff. You gotta be prepared to defend what you think is right. And actually talk about what you think
defend
is
wrong.
You can't do it if you don't know the facts or what's going on in the history behind something. That's all I'm saying. That's why I'm telling people, like you say, quit eating those goddamn Krispy Kreme donuts, hamburgers.
Yes. No, but
you know what? That's how we solve everything. Eat your vegetables.
Yeah, eat your vegetables.
God damn.
Eat your collard greens and and your carrots and peas and.
All right, man. We're running
tomatoes.
30 minutes more behind than what we planned on doing. We'll talk about this other issue later. I thought
I thought we already talked about it.
No.
I don't want to talk about it again.
No. We talked enough about it. We're gonna move on from because we want to talk about that woman that you brought up. We won't even mention her name. We'll talk about it.
Do we have time to talk about? I know you got a movie. What time?
I was concerned about you.
Oh, no, don't be concerned about me. I'm concerned about you. You got a movie to go to, and then you got to catch a plane and all kinds of crazy shit. You're gonna, because I know your ass is gonna forget, and then the phone's gonna really fucking go crazy. But are we cool? I can record all night. You let me know.
I'd say I was concerned about you. Let's see.
Why are you concerned about me? I'm a goddamn robot.
I tell you what, we'll do a part 2 because I don't want to weigh people down with the race stuff.
Oh no, too late, Corey.
I know. I tell you what. Look, here about this, because I know some black people out there, even some white people out there talking about. You know something? Mm-hmm. But every week you talk about black people and chicken. See, that's what we got to get into real quick.
See, Corey.
I think one of the things that we do here when we talk about race, I think we have a balance because a lot of times we point out the ridiculousness in these stereotypes, and then at least we try to come back with some sort of, and regardless of what Wikipedia tells you, we do have some intelligent conversations here. So I think we're able to like give that balance of, okay, these are people making fun of race, but when they come back, they're able to at least have a disclaimer like, hey, look, this is not good.
No,
we're making fun of this because it's ridiculous. Yeah. When a lot of times you don't have that.
Yeah, you're not helping. Yeah. You're absolutely right.
We had an incident on the site, and the guy who did this, I don't want him to feel bad. I don't want to go into the details because it involves some people in our crew, and it was a big uproar at the time. I mean, it was bad.
Yeah.
But there was a contest in which somebody had to kill the
crew. Yeah. Kill the crew contest.
And as much race jokes as we do on here, it was only a matter of time before people would try to do it themselves.
Right.
And sometimes people do them. We don't have a problem with it. People send us chicken videos all the time. Yeah. We never got mad about Popeye fried chicken and black people getting mad. I mean, some black people do some ridiculous shit.
As long as it's funny, I think I'll laugh at it. But yeah, I mean, I can laugh at it and go, you know, that's fucked up. That guy's not helping.
Well, as long as
he's not helping Corey's cause.
No, well, we sit up here. We point out this stuff. Like we point the finger at everybody.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know, we give gay people, we got through the finger, but if you fuck up, you're going to talk about you too.
We're not going to point the finger at ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. Blame you.
We got to point at somebody else.
But we had the Kill the Crew contest, and one guy did something. Now he didn't see this is again a case where I did not call this person racist. They did not understand.
Right.
They came out and did one of the ways to kill the crew was to have a guy come in dressed up in a Klan mask.
Yeah.
And then they pointed a gun
at Leon?
At Leon, who was in a bar, like, hey, what's a coon like you doing in a place like this?
Right.
And then you had a choice of how to kill him. One of those choices was to take out a rifle and blow his face off.
Right.
And I looked at that and I was appalled by that. I was like, there's no joke here.
Right.
It's just something. It's just a violent act followed by a racial epithet.
Yeah, and anyone looking at that would automatically just assume it's mean spirited. Yeah,
and that's
if it's animated or
and that's the main thing. Yeah. It was mean spirited, and I had to take it down, and it came back up accidentally. And at the time, there was this argument of like, well, it's funny, and I don't mean take it for fun. You know, it's like I thought this was funny. I was like, you don't understand. No. This is not even a race issue. Yeah. It's just mean spirited with no
bad taste. Yeah,
had they pointed a gun at a woman and said, what's a bitch like you doing in a place like this, and shoot her face off, I would have been appalled by that.
Or pointed at a pregnant woman and shoot her fucking belly open. Yeah.
If it had been pointed at like
that's fucked up.
Yeah, it would have been pointed. I mean, what we were doing here is, one, we were promoting humor that was violent and not funny, and number two, we were setting up a precedence for people to. We were being an example, a bad example.
Yeah.
Like I said, one of the things that we do here with race humor is that we point out things that actually happen.
Right.
We riff on stereotypes, and then we try to come back and point out the ridiculous of it, and maybe hopefully explain why it's ridiculous.
Well, we try to. Yeah, I think it's too just very. I mean, you're average normal black guy, and I'm a robot. You know, we try to at least make sense of it as much as I. Ramble. I'm hoping I'm making some kind of sense as far as at least where I'm coming from. I know you do definitely, because I know, Corey, you are very passionate about it. I'm not going to try to lie about that. And it's a good thing that you are, because it affects you in a way, and it's good to let people know someone like you, because I know for every one of Corey, there's 50 other of them Corey's out there, who are thinking the exact same thing, and it's good that you have your opinion, and it's good that I have mine. But I think what we want to promote is the idea for people to actually think about what we're saying, and to actually think about their own situations, and what would they do in a position where let's say they had a site somebody put up something like that, like would they think okay, that's offensive, or would they think that's funny? And if they think if it's funny, why is it funny? Why is it funny to them?
Well, my whole thing was, first of all, we try to do everything in parody. So I was thinking about this, and I was like, let me think about it, because I don't want to be accused of being somebody who's just being too sensitive.
Right.
And I don't know how you can't be looking at that, but I'll try to be fair. So
no, I understand. If it was a robot, you replace robots with that, acting all silly like C-3PO.
Well, see,
no, I mean, I would go, hey, what the fuck, motherfucker?
But you can be repaired.
But I would solve it real easily by killing every motherfucker in that room. That's how I solve my problem with violence.
See, that's why they're scared of your people, your robot kind.
That's right.
No, I thought about this, and I was like, what kind of example are we setting up for the younger people out there?
No, you're exactly right.
I know that we do a lot of things that aren't kid appropriate or children appropriate here, and we do things on a very explicit, mature level. But really, for the young people that saw that, I was thinking, okay, this is going to get out of hand. This is where they're going to try to do the same thing.
All it's going to do is it's going to invite more of that shit.
More of that. Yeah, they're going to try to do the same kind of humor without knowing that they're doing wrong.
Right.
And I had to write the kid and explain, like, look, this is why this is wrong, and this is probably why you don't want to do this, and we're going to take this down. I don't think you did. Leon got really pissed at him. I was like, man, don't get mad at him.
Well, because we don't see faces attached to these things, and I mean, realizing it is a kid. Yeah, I mean, it's a kid.
And I went and told him, I said, hey, man, no hard feelings. It's fine. I mean, but, you got to understand why this is wrong and why you can't do that. He was cool about it. He was actually really kind of hurt.
I remember I heard that. Yeah. When I heard that, he felt terrible, and I felt terrible for him. And it kind of made me frustrated because it made me think, you know what,